platform. In India itself, we are close to 70 million odd members, right? So it's the largest professional networking platform in the world, and we've been growing rapidly, right? So I think when I joined, we were close to 40 odd million members. We are already at a 70 million members odd, right? So that's the entire strength of the platform. Uh, it goes across the globe. It is operational in countries where some of the other social media platforms are not operational. So it gives you a chance to network across the globe, right? And these are the things that you could do using LinkedIn. A, you can set up some job alerts. You can look for certain dream companies that you would want to work for, certain roles that you would want to work for, and you can use LinkedIn to find the best possible job for yourself. That is one. You can use it to connect with professionals. You can use it to network with people within your industry, outside your industry, leaders, maybe recruiters, maybe some alumni from your own company who've been working in these companies. So you can use it to connect with professionals, right? It's a professional networking platform. Use it to connect with professionals. You can use it to conduct company research, right? I think one of the key things that I always urge students, and I've been on at your end, right? Not too long ago, I have been a student, and I know how is it at this phase. So I know how important these things these things matter. And when it comes to joining a company, there's a lot of anxiety. You would want to know how that company is, what is the culture over there. So you can use LinkedIn to conduct that kind of research, right? What kind of things that the organization has to offer, right? And yes, you can let companies find you. Most of the companies that you would want to work for are already using LinkedIn. And this is out of first time experience. I know for a fact that most of the companies using LinkedIn has become table stakes for them. So they use LinkedIn not only to hire people, but they use LinkedIn to brand themselves as well as to why they are a great company to work for. And that is where you being on LinkedIn will help you identify those companies, and you will get to know what is it that connects you with that company, right? And yeah, start early. I think the average age of this group would be around 20 to 23, if I'm not mistaken. And it's the best time to start. Yeah, if you start early, you are essentially ensuring that you are staying ahead of competition when it comes to landing a job of your interest, right? So, what essentially entails building your professional brand? There are four foundational pillars. One is fixing your own identity. How do you appear on the platform? B, building your network. Understand your network is your net worth, and especially in these times, right, guys? Because at the it's a distant dream now when we'll be able to connect offline, personally, face to face, right? So most of the networking is happening online, and LinkedIn becomes a great platform for you in order to build and nurture that network, right? I was looking at some of the questions that you had asked, and most of the questions that came across as a common thread from most of you guys were how can you nurture your network while building a network is one part of it. How is it that you constantly engage with that? So I'm going to talk about that in granular detail in this conversation as well, right? The third thing is use your network to consume knowledge, right? So for me, I think it's been almost a year since I've stopped reading a newspaper because my network and my feed is so rich that I tend to consume all the information that I need and relevant to me from my feed itself, right? So use this platform to also consume knowledge at the same time, communicate the knowledge that you have, right? So build your own thought leader brand using this platform, build your own subject matter expertise, build your own domain expertise, and say it to the world, right? So this platform essentially is a gateway for you to the professional world. You are in a scenario where most of you guys are just entering the professional world. Maybe you are in a down, maybe you are probably 1 year of work experience down. So this platform becomes a starting point. I remember I joined the platform typically at the same time or in the same age where you were, and it's been a go-to platform for me ever since. I've been working for LinkedIn for 2 years, but I've been a part of this platform for I think more than 8 or 9 years now, right? So yeah, let's start with a fixing your identity, right? So it's important to have a strong crisp profile on LinkedIn, right? and that begins with fixing your identity. And guys, feel free to take notes here. I recommend you to take notes here, because what I'm going to share with you now is something that you would want to sort of take notes out of, or maybe in the same browser you can start fixing your profile while I'm sharing these pointers with you, right? All right. So firstly, your personal brand. These are two questions that you need to answer before you build in your LinkedIn journey, right? You need to answer these two questions in terms of what are the three adjectives that you would want to be known by, and how these are aligned to your current role and future role. Once you've identified and once you've answered these three questions for you, it becomes a lot easier, right? Because once you know there is a direction that you would want to go into, maybe the three adjectives that I would want to be known by is hardworking, compassionate, and available to a larger audience for help, right? So then all the activities that I would do would have a certain flavor when it comes to my activity on LinkedIn, right? So try and answer these three questions for you before you start activating your LinkedIn profile, right? Cool. So let's go ahead and let's start activating your LinkedIn profile, right? So step one, guys, add a photo. Basics. I've seen some of your profiles, so you guys have been doing this. Make sure it's a professional photo. Make sure it's a headshot, right? Make sure that there's proper lighting and the background is good, and 80% of your face is visible, right? People with the right kind of photo on LinkedIn have known to have 9 times more connection requests, 21 times more profile views, and 36 times more messages. So these stats do tell a story. It means that having the right kind of image or picture on LinkedIn is important, right? So it's different from your Facebook and Instagram pictures. Make sure that this is a professional picture as far as possible, right? Next thing, add your industry, the industry that you are a part of, or maybe an industry that you would want to be a part of, right? The thing is that if you add your industry, the feed improvises on its own. And accordingly, you start getting suggestions and posts on your feed, which are basically related or relevant to the industry that you've tagged yourselves as, right? So make sure that you add your industry. Step two. Step three, draft a compelling summary, right? So, as I said, your LinkedIn profile is a gateway to the professional network to the world for you. And that is where you can create a summary of your profile. Think of this as an elevator pitch. What would you like to say about yourself in 20 seconds or 30 seconds, in 40, 50 words? And that is where you put in your elevator pitch, right? Make sure that it's the right balance. It's not too boastful, but at the same time, it's communicating what are your values, your vision, what do you stand for, and what is it that you would want to do with your career, right? It's a good way of decking up your profile. Think of your LinkedIn profile as your social CV. A lot of companies, before hiring, before even interviewing you, will look at your LinkedIn profile, and the information that you would put in over here is something that would go a long way. And maybe there would be questions within the interview that would come in from this social CV of yours, right? So make sure you've put in this is up to date. Make sure that this is something that resonates with you. Detail your work experience, if any. Some of you guys have some internships at your back. Some of you guys have worked for a couple of years. Make sure you've detailed it. You can detail your work experience in a fashion where you can add some rich media content. Maybe if you've got a blog, an image, a video, an article that is a summary of your work experience, make sure that you've added that. The fact that you've added a detailed work experience will lead to 5x more connection requests, 8 times more profile views, and 10 times more messages, right? So make sure that you've detailed it. It need not be extremely exhaustive, but it gives a quick summary of what is it that you did in that company, right? If you can back it up with some numbers, nothing like it, right? Maybe if you've achieved some targets, and with due respect and due permission from the company, if you can put those numbers, yes, that plays a huge role. Yes, add examples of your work. I just spoke about it. You can use rich media content for this to give a representation of your professional story, and keep this as an ongoing process. All right, this is important. Add volunteer experience. We are now in a world where companies want to look beyond the professional angle of the profile that they're hiring for. They want to look at the human side of this person as well, right? And that's where you can talk about what are the causes that you're championing. So there are companies which are championing causes around diversity. There is a huge uproar around Black Lives Matter right now, equality, inclusivity. if you're doing something to reach out to underprivileged people, all of these do become a part of your core profile. And that's something that you would want to add to your LinkedIn profile. So make sure if you've got volunteering experience, please add this to your profile. All right, add skills, really important. So I'm sure everyone knows how LinkedIn algorithm works when it comes to recruiter search. So when recruiters are searching for your profile or they're searching for any roles, the fact that you've tagged yourself with those skills increase your chances of showing up in the recruiter dashboard. So when recruiters are looking for, let's say, an opening for a digital marketer, the fact that you have this skill in your profile and the fact that you've been endorsed by a lot of people with this skill will increase your searchability. It will mean that you will be in the top searches for the recruiter, which gives you a higher chance for the recruiter to reach out to you, right? So make sure that you added those skills. Keep it relevant, keep it narrow, keep it very focused. It's no point adding 100 and 200 odd skills because it would just dilute the messaging. So identify those top 15, 20 skills and add them to your profile. And if you can get them endorsed by people who've worked with you, nothing like it, right? Request a recommendation, guys, and that's something that as a feature stays on your LinkedIn profile. So the fact that you worked in a company 2 years ago, 1 year ago, and if your manager or your colleague has been sharing a recommendation, it adds weight to your social CV. So when companies look at hiring you, they look at all these pillars. They look at how you performed. They look at what kind of behavioral traits do you exhibit. So your recommendations play a huge role. So always be open to giving recommendations and also be open enough to ask recommendations from colleagues. It's a good practice. There is no shame in asking recommendations. If you've done work, there is always merit in asking recommendations, right? All right, quick pause here. Aklank, I'd just like to go around the room, address any questions, anything on the chat window, since I can't see the chat window. And I hope, guys, I'm not boring you. I mean, I know I've been on the other side. I know how is it like going through a presentation. So trust me, I feel you. It's not the best scenario because I'm doing it virtually and I have to rely on a presentation. But yeah, I'm trying to make the most of what we have. So Aklank, yeah, anything on the chat window? Any questions, guys? Just taking a quick pause.
Hello, sir. Currently, there are no questions. As students will be posting, I'll definitely let you know. I request everyone to start posting their questions, and we usually do it at the end of the meeting, so most probably people
Sure.
post at the end. But if students have any questions, they can start posting now as well, and we'll take them up.
No, absolutely. And you know what? You can share comments as well, right? If there is something that you agree to, if there's something that you disagree to, right? Please share your thoughts on those lines as well. So you need not post questions. I know I have questions from your end already, and I'm going to spend the second half of this session on that. But yeah, if you've got comments, please go ahead. Right? Cool. So with that, I move on. Fundamental pillar two. One is fixing your identity. I hope you've taken notes, and I hope you would sort of action this in your profiles. The next thing is your network, guys. uh, can't stress the importance of having a strong network, right? I, I can talk about the past 3 stints of my career, which has been a direct function of the network that I had on LinkedIn. So prior to working with LinkedIn, I had a startup of my own, and I actually made a quick pitch to my investor using LinkedIn. So you use LinkedIn's in-mail feature where you reach out to potential people. And yeah, I had an idea, I had a plan, and I wanted to bounce it off with some investors. So I actually reached out to them with via LinkedIn and I shared a basic blueprint of the idea with them. And one of them were interested enough, and they sort of called me over, and then we discussed the entire round of thing. So that is something that has helped. In fact, my LinkedIn stint as well came from a recruiter within LinkedIn who reached out to me on LinkedIn via an email, right? So yes, build your network on LinkedIn. It is your net worth. Uh, I, I already spoke about the fact that in the current scenario, and as things have changed post COVID, it will be much more important to have this network and this digital footprint created, because most of you and most of us will be connecting with people online increasingly as days pass by, right? So make sure that you build your network and you nurture your network as well, right? So yes, one way is obviously LinkedIn prompts you people you may know, you can connect with them. And then the other way is you can proactively reach out to people on LinkedIn. And there were some questions in the Excel that were shared with me in terms of how we can reach out to people, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a few templates with you. Feel free to take a screenshot of this template. And it's not set in stone. You can use this as a guiding principle, but you can make necessary changes as well. So here is where you can take a screenshot, and this is possibly a best practice in terms of reaching out to people whom you don't know, right? If you're done taking screenshots, I could move on. Yep. There are some other templates as well. Feel free to take screenshots. These are some templates which have known to work for people in the past. As I said, it's not set in stone. Make necessary iterations. I recommend you to make necessary iterations, but use this as a guiding line. Keep it crisp. Keep it very, very concise. Talk about why do you want to connect with that person. Someone you know, someone you've never met, someone you've met in the past, but maybe that person would not recall. You could use these templates. So feel free to take screenshots. Cool. So yes, once you've fixed your identity, once you've networked, and make this as an as a as a cadence. Continuously keep on building your network, continuously fixing your identity. Whenever there's something new to your profile, keep on adding that. Maybe if you've taken a course, probably add that on the profile. Keep on giving recommendations, taking recommendations, endorsing profiles, adding depth to your work experience, right? Also, there are some of the new features that have come on LinkedIn. So you can always use a headline to your profile, right? So beyond your name or below your name, you can talk about the adjectives that describe you. So I have my headline says nurturing, helping companies nurture talent, right? So that is something that I am doing. Maybe whatever you can talk about what your headline is, what is your professional story, what is your professional vision, right? So use that as a point, because whenever someone's searching you, the first thing that comes up is your name and then what your headline is, right? So make sure that your headline is up to date. Cool. The next thing is consuming knowledge on LinkedIn. I spoke about the fact that what I've actually stopped reading newspapers because LinkedIn in itself gives me enough knowledge that I would want to consume, enough news, enough knowledge, enough information, right? And that is because I have kept myself subscribed to certain things that help me sort of gain that knowledge, right? So I'm following the right kind of influencers. I'm following the right kind of channels, right? So you can follow some of the influencers whom you really idolize. Make sure that that list is something that is exhaustive enough. You can also follow certain channels basis on the groups that you would possibly interested in. It could be entrepreneurship, economy, social media, so on and so forth. Follow certain publications, right? I've been following a Harvard Business Review or a McKinsey and Co. And there are a lot of publications that do some weekly postings, and those are great sources of knowledge, right? So that is something that I do. Gather academic insight. So I've been following my own alma mater as well as some of the other alma maters which have been posting research material time and again, right? Company insights, company that I would want to follow, companies that I would want to work with in the future, right? And last but not the least, community insights. So community insights is basically being a part of these closed groups which not only help you consume knowledge and information but also helps you interact. So there are a lot of closed groups which help people find jobs, people find opportunities, so on and so forth, right? So being a part of these groups and staying active pays. It goes a long way in for you to be connected with opportunities in the future, right? So that's something that I hugely recommend you to do, right? Also at the same time, make sure that you are following or you following the right kind of people who add value to your feed, right? I think there was a question that came in the Excel sheet that what kind of people we should accept connection requests from and send out connection requests to. It should be those people who are adding value to your feed. Yeah, it should be relevant. It should be those set of people who are either helping you improve your domain knowledge, or maybe they're helping you network with a larger audience in the future. right? So that is all about consuming knowledge. Now, while LinkedIn is a great platform to gain knowledge, it is also a platform to share knowledge. It works hand in hand, right? So once you've gained knowledge, how do you also communicate? How do you build your expertise? How do you showcase your thought leader brand on LinkedIn? It is by communicating your knowledge on the platform, right? So there are various forms. One is obviously sharing content. So you can curate your own content, or maybe you can take some articles which are on current topic or topics just general, and put your thoughts on it. Or you could comment on some of the trending articles. It's actually a pro tip. The fact that you comment on certain articles which are trending, it automatically improves your profile visibility. So yes, do that. Highly recommended, right? The other form of doing content is a short form content, which is nothing but your status updates, right? Which is typically 150 odd words. Recommend you to keep it under 150 words. And the other one is long form content. So long form content could be looked at two ways. One is long form content in the form of blog post, and the other form is video post. Now, some best practices you would like to note down when you're doing, and this is also a question that came in the Excel that I was looking at. When you're doing video content, the ideal time range of doing video content is around 60 to 80 seconds, right? So make a note of that. If you're doing video content, it's a very strong tool of building engagement with your target audience. Use video content. Video content has known to be the highest engaging form of content on LinkedIn. So yes, highly recommend you doing video content. And honestly, you need not be picture perfect. You need not be in a studio to shoot content. Most of the content that people are doing are basically using, their mobile camera. So as long as you've got good content, feel free to share it. A good practice over here is to use subtitles with your content, right? Because there is always the opportunity to reach out to a global audience, and the problem of being lost in translation because of different accents. So feel always recommend you to use subtitles within your video content, right? There are a lot of apps available for free in the market which can help you draw subtitles to your video, right? So one is video content. The other is long form blog post. If you're not too comfortable doing video content, use long form blog post, right? And whenever you're doing blog post, remember these three things: what, why, how. So what is it that you're talking about? Why is it that you're talking about? And if it is an actionable, how is it that you can action in it? What, why, how, right? And break this down into paragraphs. Highly recommend you to use images within your blog post, right? And a good length of this would be 4 to 5 paragraphs, not more than 1,000 words, right? That is something that is known to be a successful, engaging long form article post on LinkedIn. Also, make sure that you use a catchy headline, right? It's known to be a success factor for a lot of long form posts on LinkedIn, right? So yes, content, short form content 150 words, long form content 1,000 words, video 60 to 80 seconds, right? Also, a pro tip: whenever you're doing content, keep your hashtag game strong. A good idea is to use not more than 3 hashtags, right? It is statistically proven that the usage of more than 3 hashtags has actually led to a decline in post reach. So use 3 hashtags, but three highly strong curated hashtags which are relevant and which have a followership of its own, right? So no point creating a hashtag out of thin air. If there is a hashtag which is already existing, maybe you can add that. And if you're lucky enough, and if your post is good enough, you would be, LinkedIn editors make certain hashtags trending, and you would be one of those people whose posts have been trending in a specific hashtag group, right? Also, tag right set of people. You can tag as many people as you want in a specific post. It will just increase the virality of the post. Those posts, but the network of those people whom you've tagged as well, right? But yeah, be cautious not to overdo it, because it has to be relevant to the person that you've tagged. Cool. So yeah, just a quick summary. Best practices: one, share your authentic voice. You need not ape anyone. You should be having your own voice, your own thoughts, and it not be a replica of anyone. It's good to be inspired. It's not good to be copying or aping anyone, right? Posting frequently. A pro tip here, one of the best times to post on LinkedIn is known to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday between 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And yeah, those are especially those time zones where posts have had the highest form of engagement, right? But yes, post frequently. If you post for a week and then go lull for another week, then start again, it's not really working, right? So make sure that you've been posting something here and there on LinkedIn. You've been doing some sort of activity, because the system optimizes. They know that there is a person who's been constantly engaging with its audience on LinkedIn, and that is where your post ranking goes up the table, right? Keep it conversational. A lot of people do this. I would give you certain examples, like a Brigade Hyacinth or a Gary Vaynerchuk. And if you see most of their posts, it ends with a question mark, wherein they're prompting responses in their comment section, right? So yeah, that's a good practice. If you make people open to answering on your post, you definitely have a successful, a winner engaging a post to your profile. Include rich media. I already spoke about that. Creating opportunity for reciprocity, which is nothing but opening it up to conversations, right? So these are some of the best practices when it comes to sharing updates. Right. I hate giving homework because I hated receiving one, but maybe this is something that you could do. Maybe you could start off with your first long form post on LinkedIn. It could be a video post as well. You can talk about your first year in your MBA, or maybe your first few months in an internship that you did, or your first job. Just give it a start. It's guys, it's okay not to be perfect when you start off with. You will build expertise as time passes by, but it's important to start, right? Again, circling back, four pillars: identity, build it; network, your network is your net worth. Just make sure that you invest in it. Knowledge, consume the right one; communicate frequently, right? Yes, very relevant. Next person I can connect with could change my life. You never know, right? And I'm going to leave you with a quick video before I jump into some questions. Just sorry about that. All right, let me just stop sharing and get back to normal mode where I can see people in the window. All right, Aklank, quick pause here. Any questions we have from the chat window? And guys, I hope
Yes.
this was worth your time. I hope this was not too boring. I know I've rushed a little bit due to the paucity of time. We've got only 1 hour, and there are a lot of questions that you guys have come up with, so I need to address them as well. So, if in case you feel there is more that you would want to know, please feel free to reach out to me. Personally, you guys have my access to my LinkedIn profile. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave on chat my email address as well. So feel free to reach out to me. Also, if at any point in time you guys are stuck in terms of how can you take your LinkedIn profile forward, or what are things that you could do to sort of enhance your social network, feel free to reach out to me. Cool. So Aklank, over to you in terms of questions. If there are no questions in the chat window, I'll probably address the ones in the Excel sheet.
Hello, Abhishek sir. Yes, there are some questions in the chat window. I'll just read them out for you.
Yeah.
First question is from Gagan Tree. He says, "Hi Abhishek, what is the standard practice to put certificates from Coursera, Udemy, etc. on LinkedIn? I read somewhere that such certificate shouldn't be put under licenses and certification section as it is reserved for skills that are certified by stringent exams, for example, CFA.
Yes. So, great question. Whenever you're posting certificates, so there are two ways to look at this. Whenever you complete courses on LinkedIn, you can immediately go and post them on the profile itself because all the necessary permissions are in place, right? However, if you're posting any other certificates from a third party, you need to check with the third party with respect to if there are necessary permissions to post them, and also the fact that from a curriculum point of view, from a certification point of view, these are courses which these are the certifications to the right kind of courses, right? So there are a lot of courses which, let's say, talk about beginners to financial management. And if I take that course, that does not mean that I am a CFA, right? So you need to be mindful of that. But yeah, if you've got the necessary permissions from the third party app, yes, free to go ahead. Hope
Thank
that
you,
answers the
Abhishek.
question. Yep.
That was a great answer to the question. Moving on to the next question. It's asked by Nitish Arora. He says, Hi Abhishek, what should be kept in mind while designing visually compelling graphics specifically for LinkedIn campaigns? What should be the choice of words, thumbnails, image resolution, etc. for LinkedIn campaigns?
Right. So again, there is a tech spec, right? So there, if you go on your LinkedIn profile and there is an option on your news feed where you click on advertise, and when you click on advertise, there's an FAQ which gives you all the specifications. So as far as specifications, you can refer to that. In terms of best practices, I can tell you that when you are doing images, make sure that there is a good image to text ratio, and that should be 80-20, 80% image, 20% text, right? Because if there is more text in an image, it's highly likely that users will scroll through it. Similarly for videos, when videos, the average length that I said is around 60 to 80 seconds, and LinkedIn is a platform which is higher stickiness. Contrary to other platforms where video average tenure is 15-20 seconds, LinkedIn is where there is higher stickiness. But above all, with content, what is the most important is the relevancy of your content to the target audience. How much of a value add is it for them in terms of their knowledge, right? So that is the golden rule. If you keep that in mind, all the other things are technicalities.
Thank you, Abhishek sir. The next question is from Malishmita. She says, while we create content over post on LinkedIn, how to increase its call to action?
So let me get this question right. When we create content on LinkedIn, how to increase the call to action? Is that the question, Aklan?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, call to action is something that you put across. So, if you're doing inorganic posts, right? This is something that you would do if you're working in a company in the branding team. You would do some paid posts. So in paid posts, you have an option of actually adding a call to action. So it could be subscribe now, join now, visit now. So there are some predefined call to actions that you could put to inorganic posts. But for organic posts, call to actions are something that you typically put in your post description, right? And which has to be lucid, understandable, and it also needs to be in a way where there is not a lot of pre-read to it, right? Or what you can do is you can do two things. One is add the call to action in your post description, and also add the call to action in your link as well, or in your image as well, right? So in your image, you can say that, okay, apply now, and see the people could possibly use see the post description to sort of refer to the call to action.
Thank you, sir. Next question is from Nitish again. It says, Hi Abhishek, another question. How can brands leverage their LinkedIn polls, and how often should brands go for it? And what can be the CTA in LinkedIn polls?
Okay, good question. CTA on LinkedIn post results are not, jury is not out yet. LinkedIn polls is actually a feature which has been recently launched, right? I think it's been a couple of months, not more than that, since it's been launched. And both brands and individuals as well can use LinkedIn polls. So I actually recently did a LinkedIn poll wherein I wanted to understand what is the COVID-19 content burnout. So I just ran a poll. What is your in terms of content which is related to COVID-19. Do you want to read COVID-19 content? Do you want to read other content, or do you want to read stories of inspiration and hope? And surprisingly, the result that came in was, maximum people voted for listening to stories of inspiration and hope, right? So you can use this poll feature not only for companies but for individual profiles as well. It's a feature that has been recently launched, so CTRs are not out, but a lot of companies have been using it. A lot of companies have been using it to ask questions about their brand. What is the perception of their brand on the platform? What is the perception of the of their brand overall, right? So that is something that companies have been using, and you as an individual can possibly ask this or set up this poll to gain the views of your audience on any topic that you are concerned or interested in. And maybe once you've taken a poll, a good practice is to share the results of the poll after the poll is over with the audience with a synopsis of your study. So always do that. Just don't leave it at the poll itself. Follow it up with what are your synopses of the study.
Thank you, Abhishek, sir. Next question is from Sankal. He says, Hi, Abhishek. How can we find out the most relevant hashtags for a LinkedIn post? Is there any way to find out which hashtags are trending?
Right. So again, there are certain offline apps or third-party apps rather, which will give you a sense of hashtags. So I think Hashtagify is one which will tell you what are the top hashtag trending hashtags. In a geography, on a platform. So LinkedIn, in a way, will not give out those results. It will not give out what are the top trending hashtags in your region as per se, or your network per se. You will get certain notifications wherein you will get to see that what hashtag has been trending in terms of what post on a specific hashtag has been trending. But a recommendation here is hashtag is typically associated with current affairs, right? So if you can probably look at a current affair and then use hashtags accordingly, you would your chances of getting a wider reach for your post will be much more likely.
Thank you, Abhishek, sir. Next question is from Abhijit. He asks, can you give some insight on how to use LinkedIn Pulse to complement your profile and how to get more traction on LinkedIn Pulse articles?
Right. So I think LinkedIn Pulse is a separate paid feature which some of the companies use. It's typically for companies who are looking at leveraging the power of their own employees. It's a great way of knowledge sharing. You could definitely use that. If you can subscribe to it, yes. If you cannot, there's no harm. You can always look at sources of articles across the web, right? So you can use Economic Times, you can use all the other sources of articles that you would want to reshare, right? So while LinkedIn Pulse is great, the benefit of this is it keeps people within the platform, so people don't go out. But if you can get your hands across to it, yes. If not, you can use other features as well. Again, when you're using LinkedIn Pulse, you have an option of scheduling posts. So you need not go in every day and make a post. You can create a post for or a series of posts for yourself for the entire week to go, right? So you can create a scheduler of sorts.
Thank you, Abhishek, sir. We have another question from Gagan. He asks, how can one build a genuine network based on trust rather than network for the sake of networking?
Great question. I think there was a question in the sheet as well, that what should I focus on? Content that is relevant or content that is engaging, right? The answer to that is that if your content is relevant, it will be engaging. If your content is engaging, it is bound to be relevant, right? So know your audience. That is the first and the most important thing. Know your audience on the platform, know whom you're connected with, and continuously keep sharing content which will add value to your audience, right? So that is one. In terms of building trust, just avoid doing so. There was a question on the chat as well which talked about what are some of the things that you should not do on the platform. Don't put cat videos, don't put bodybuilding videos. This is a professional network, and there are things that people expect from you from the platform, and unfortunately that is not something that people would expect. So if you're building trust, Trust is something which is a two-way street. Put in content which you feel would add value to the person who's going to read it, and continuously keep on doing that, right? And it has to be nascent, it has to be innovative. So these are some of the things that I recommend. It has to be consistent as well, right? So try using some of these tips when it comes to building trust on the platform. Don't be spammy, don't keep on bombarding people on their emails, don't do a lot of lead generation post from your individual profiles, right? Do more knowledge sharing, focus on why it matters to them, and these are the things that will go a long way in terms of building trust within your network.
Thank you, Abhishek, sir. And then we have a next question from Vishnu, who says, "Hi, Abhishek. Any advice on how to grow a company page?"
Oh, so if a company has not had a company page, first thing is, once you set up a company page, again, post frequently. I've spoken to you about the posting cadences, but when it comes to a company page, the company should always keep a fine balance between branding for consumers and branding for employees and potential employees, right? So for consumer, branding is one thing which all companies do. It's very normal, straight out of the arm, and they do it across platforms. Branding for employees is something which companies focused only on LinkedIn, because it's a platform where they can communicate with their potential employees. So here is where you talk about your culture, you talk about your vision, you talk about what brings people to work within your company. What is how do you celebrate wins? How do you respect each other? How do you create an environment where people respect each other? How do you create a culture of collaboration? Right? So these are the things that you talk about. Besides or beyond your own consumer brand, in terms of what product you're selling, use some of these human factors as well. Your company page on LinkedIn is a great opportunity for you and your brand to bring your brand to life, right? So talk about some of these things. Make your leaders active on LinkedIn. Some of your leaders can talk about what are the things that they're doing, especially in the current scenario. What are the things that they're doing which drive with compassion? How are they helping minority groups? How are they helping underprivileged groups? What are the CSR activities that they're doing? Some of these things go a huge way on building a brand on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Abhishek, sir. I think it was a great answer. Another add-up question to it from my side itself is, what if the company page is of about a small company, not a lot of employees, and they want to grow their business using LinkedIn? So how should they go about it without, of course, having to use paid advertisement?
Right. So you know what? There's a deep study. I'm not sure if I can quote where it came from, but it's just went like this: that companies who have a strong employer brand on LinkedIn, companies who've been able to project the human side of their brand on LinkedIn, have known to attract much more consumers at scale, right? So you see, there is a give and take relationship. Now, if you talk about a small company, at the end of the day, even a small company would want to attract people to work for them. And the problem for them is that they are fighting with the big wigs in the industry. So let's say if you open up a small startup, I did a small startup, it was a tech startup, and I'm fighting with the likes of the Amazons and the Flipkarts and the IBMs of the world for the same kind of talent, right? While our products were different, obviously, but the talent that would work with Amazon would be the kind of talent that I wanted to employ. But clearly, I was not able to attract those kind of talent. Why? Because for them, there is no differentiator for me for them to work in my company. And that is what I start doing on LinkedIn. I start creating those differentiators. What is it that you would get in my company if you would work for my company? What are those unique factors that we have on offer? We are a small company, no doubt about that, but we have great opportunities to grow. We've got great leadership roadmaps. We've got a great management to work under. We have great learning culture. So these are the things that you can create as differentiators. Eventually, your employee brand is something that sets you apart from another company. And trust me, there are all sorts of people in the world. There are some people who would want to work with the Amazon, and then there are certain set of people who are looking at hyper growth, and they would want to work with a company like yours, which is a startup, but a fast paced growing startup. So it's just about how you project this differentiator.
Thank you, Abhishek, sir. The next question is from Alishmita. She says, another question, sir. There are always advantages of having an account on LinkedIn. Is it
Mhm.
a good practice to have a LinkedIn account of your company apart from a LinkedIn page?
Um, well, yes and no. There is no thumb rule to this. See, eventually, a company page is something that you do to to disseminate information to the rest of the world, right? Your company page is your showroom. That is where people come in, they see everything that you've got to offer. A LinkedIn profile is essentially you use to network, right? So you network, you comment. So yes, I have seen a lot of companies do have a page of their or a profile of their own. What they use this profile is to comment on some of the activities that their employees are doing. So yeah, it's not set in stone. You could do it, you could not do it. It is completely dependent on your bandwidth and what you can manage.
Thank you, Abhishek, sir. That's it from the
Yeah.
questions from the chat.
I think I have some questions in the Excel sheet. So I will just quickly share my screen. How much time do we have? We have 10 minutes, right?
Yes.
Cool. So let me just open up the screen right here. Can you see my screen? Aklam, can you confirm this?
Uh,
Mm,
Currently, no, sir. I can't.
okay. Is the Excel sheet visible?
Yeah, now I can see.
Right. So what I've done is I have bucketed some of these questions. While there were a lot of questions, I knew that there would be a paucity of time, so I've tried to bucket them. And I've marked in green. I'll be answering them right now. But yes, feel free to reach out to me if your question in case has not been answered. Right. So first, starting off with Abhijit as an MBA student, should I be choosy in making connections on my professional networks, or should I try to network with everyone? Uh, Abhijit, absolutely not required to try to network with everyone. Keep it relevant, but at the same time, try to network with as many people as possible in your relevance. You know, LinkedIn has a cap. You cannot connect with more than 30,000 members, right? So beyond 30,000 members or 30,000 connections, people actually start following you, right? So try and keep it restricted to people who are relevant, who add value to your feed. Because if you try and network with everyone, the chances are that your feed and the kind of data that will appear on your feed will start getting distorted. So you would want to keep a fine balance. Typically what I do is I reach out to all the people who are in my network, who are relevant to me in my business circles. And because from a voluntary cause of point of view, I like helping out people who are in the early stages of their career. I make it a point to connect with them. So that's how I keep a balance, right? Next question I marked was by Arjun. To what extent does the role domain of previous work experience matter for a new job application, right? So two ways to look at this. Most of you guys would be in their early stage of their career, one internship down. So really at this point in time, you are building your domain knowledge, right? So when you're building your domain knowledge, one is what field you are into, what role you've taken, what company you've joined. And then once you've joined a company, always try to take offhand courses beyond what your company is offering to do skill building, right? So that is important. When it comes to relevance of previous work experience, the way recruiters look at it is this way. They're either hiring for freshers, or B, they're hiring for work experienced people, professionals with work experience. And whenever they're doing, they mention that, right? So if they're hiring for freshers, they're not looking at previous work experience. They're looking for aptitude. They're looking for hunger. They're looking for the right skill sets. And if those skill sets, or rather behavioral aspects, and if those behavioral aspects are a good fit, that means that you would be a likely candidate for the job. However, if the recruiter has explicitly mentioned in the JD that 5 years experience is minimum, then obviously that is a cutoff. Next question was by Vignesh. Is it wise to jump between multiple organizations between a short span of time? Well, uh, it is not, to be very honest. If you're looking for adventures, and if you feel that you're bored out of a job in a 6 month period and you want to move out, it's not the best thing on your CV. But you know what? It's not the worst thing either. If you are able to explain to your recruiter who's interviewing you why you moved out, and if you've got a solid reason to it, then it's not a problem. If you look at my stints, the average stints that I have had in companies have been less than 1 year. So honestly, it's not. While I know certain recruiters who do tend to question that, but typically 2 to 3 years is a good time. But if there is anything lesser than that, make sure that you've got strong reasons. But having said that, protect your right of moving out of a job if you don't feel satisfied with the job, right? So 2 to 3 years is an average time, good time. Recruiters don't seem to question that. It's acceptable norms. But if there's anything less, have a good reason to it. Okay, next question was by Mukesh. Before Feb 2020, the market scenario was very different. In the last 6 months, we are going to something very different. What do you think is the new normal? What is the positive aspects? So I'll touch upon the positive aspects. At LinkedIn, we conduct this workforce confidence index survey, and we take into consideration companies, recruiters, potential employees, all of them. And you'd be happy to know that there are some green shots there, and people are now forward looking. While there is cautious optimism, but then there are certain sectors which are looking at the future much more optimistically, right? So pharma, IT, BFSI to a certain extent, FMCG to a certain extent, consumer durables, right? So these are certain sectors which have been looking forward, looking up positively. So maybe these are those sectors where you will see a lot of growth. There are certain sectors which have been hit really badly. It's just unfortunate, right? Real estate, hospitality, so on and so forth. And those sectors have really taken a backseat. And I think at this point in time, it's they're fighting the situation out. They're not in a flight mode or a freeze mode. They've not been hiring, they've been laying off, right? Uh, Post-COVID, the next question from uh, Diganta is post-COVID, will there be a paradigm shift in company recruitment? Oh yes. If you see, most of the recruitment activities have moved virtually, and a lot of companies that I work with, some of the best ones, focus on offering a great candidate experience, right? So this paradigm shift is evident now. A lot of recruitment is happening virtually. In fact, I've been consulting a lot of companies to do campus recruitments virtually, use of LinkedIn Live and LinkedIn events, right? So they have been doing this actively. And this paradigm shift has meant that people are joining companies or being interviewed remotely. They're joining remotely. At the same time, their trainings have been or inductions have been done remotely. So what has changed? Most of these assessments have moved online. There are proctored assessments that are happening, but some of the top companies have been focusing on offering a great candidate experience. So this is something which is work in progress. But because of this paradigm shift, it becomes all the more important for you to have a decked up LinkedIn profile, because people and companies or recruiters who are going to hire you are now going to look at these small nuances much more in a much more magnified manner than ever before. Next question was by Vishnu. I think I addressed that. Highly engaging content vis-a-vis content that resonates. Next was by Ara Aratrika, if I got the name wrong. Sorry about that. Considering that nowadays professionals usually check LinkedIn accounts for interviews, what is the best possible way? So I just spoke about that, right? Have a decked up profile. You know what? LinkedIn has come up with this new feature where you can actually record your name. So a lot of people get these problems, including me, where my name is not, pronounced. So you can record your name on your LinkedIn profile. So whenever someone is meeting you, they can actually get an audio clip of your name. So that is one. The other things is obviously we spoke about your description, all the things. Make sure that your certifications, courses, all of these things that you've done on LinkedIn is active. Also, guys, a great way to keep activity up on LinkedIn is by sharing kudos, right? So you can actually celebrate certain things on LinkedIn. This is new feature. So any person whom you want to give out a note of thanks or celebrate that person's win, you can actually go on LinkedIn and use this feature where you can celebrate their accomplishments. So make sure that you do that. Can you share some mistakes? I think I already did that. Posts which are not relevant, posts which are not formatted correctly, too much of text in a post description, some of these things. These are some of the practices which reflect poorly. Also, post which is just spammy in nature, avoid doing that. What is the best way I frame an article? I think I spoke about that. Have a structure, why, what, how, add images, add rich media content. You might be seeing an excess in activities on LinkedIn. Do you see networking on LinkedIn helping companies and job seekers? Oh yes, absolutely. Uh, Engagement on LinkedIn is at an all-time high. Um, the kind of activities on LinkedIn has grown up by 2000% post the COVID situation and the lockdown hit us. So companies have been actively using LinkedIn to hire job seekers because at this point in time, they are not able to do recruitments offline, right? So online recruitment has taken the fore, and that's where they're looking at people and their profiles. Recommendations are not really working. Company recommendations have taken a backseat. Most of the companies relied on in-house recommendations. So since that has taken a backseat, consultants and recruiters, like HR recruiters that help them hire people with percent commission, that is also taken a backseat. So yes, that is taken. So engagement on LinkedIn and companies looking for job seekers is at an all-time high. There's a new feature that has come up on LinkedIn. I'm sure most of you all must have seen that. You can actually go and select open to opportunities. And when you select open to opportunities, your profile gives a green sort of a ring, your profile picture, which says, hey, you are an individual which is open to opportunity. I recommend you to use that. Next question by Karthik. What are the key segments that in the resume that makes or breaks while recruiter assessing one resume? Okay, key segments, I would say it's completely dependent on what is the aptitude required for that job? What is the personality that is required for that job? So if it's a sales role which requires a personality which requires a lot of hustle, and if you project a personality in your CV which is more thought out, more intellectual, more laid back, for that matter, for the lack of a better word, so that is something that you would want to work upon. If you are looking for a job, identify internally if that job is something that is a right fit for you, and then the idea and the recommendation is just be real, just be honest, just be real, just talk about your personality and let the recruiter decide whether that personality is the right fit for the job or not. Because trust me, if you try to fake your way through, 6 months down the lane, you will not be satisfied with the job, and that's not leading anywhere, right? So yep, it's one of the key things. Put down your behavioral traits, and then the other things are just basic features like your formatting and the kind of work experience that you put in. Don't be too long. you know I've made a mistake of making 4-page CVs. Don't do that. Try and freeze your CV within 1 or 2 pages maximum. Keep it brief. For everything else, put down a link of your LinkedIn profile. They can always refer to that, right? So keep it brief. Next question by Uday Shankar was, can you please share your views on ideal frequency? I think I already did that. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10 to 1, 3 to 4 posts a week. Also try to make sure that some of these posts are conversational. You are commenting or responding to the comments that have come on the post. So these are some of the best practices to get yourself featured. 3 to 4 hashtags, 2 or 3 people tagged in that post. Some of the best practices. Mridul had a question: how can we effectively use LinkedIn group for better networking? I think I addressed that in my presentation, so not taking that up. Supriya had a question: what type of post? Guys, I know I'm slightly ahead of time. Uh, uh, can I? Is it okay if we can extend it by a couple of minutes, Aklang? Is that okay?
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Yeah, we're good, right? Cool. So, what type of post will help my account to have more reach rather than just posting random thoughts or ideas? What type of post? Posts which are relevant, which add value, right? Now, there is no single rule of thumb for this. It's something which you'll have to be the best judge. If you don't like to read the post, please don't post it. Samuel had a question. LinkedIn holds the professional and personal data of every user. What are data privacy measures that LinkedIn is doing in priority? Great question, Samuel. So LinkedIn has this policy of member first. You can actually go onto your profile, select privacy settings, and make sure that everything that is being shared is being supervised by you. For 3 years in a row, LinkedIn has been awarded as the most trusted platform across the globe, the most trusted social media platform across the globe. So LinkedIn takes a lot of pride and a lot of care in ensuring that this data is safe. Last year, LinkedIn deleted 25 million profiles. just because they found it to be hoax or spam. So if you see on LinkedIn, you will not have 3,000, 4,000 odd likes on a post. But you know what? LinkedIn also does not have a lot of fake profiles, spam profiles. There is this whole new world of like farms which LinkedIn does not really have. So that is something that LinkedIn takes care of, and it ensures that this data is held very carefully. And yes, you are the owner of sharing this data. So if, at the end of the day, if you're not really happy with this data being shared, you can always take steps in order to prevent what is going out of your profile. Cool. So that addresses all the questions we had. I hope it was it made sense. I've tried to answer them to the best of my ability. But yeah, if there's a chat window over here, I am going to put in, or Aklank, if you could do this for me in the
Yes, sir.
chat window. Okay, actually, I found the chat window. Super. So I'm just
Okay.
putting in my email ID at gmail.com. And what I'm going to do is I am going to share the my profile URL. So if you guys want to connect with me, if you guys want to reach out to me for anything specifically one-on-one, something that I could not address in this session, unfortunately, please DM me on LinkedIn or reach out to me on email, and I'll be happy to help you. I may not be able to give you prompt responses for certain reasons, but yeah, I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. So yeah, that's about it from my end. I hope this was useful. I hope this was worthy of your time. I wish you all the best for your career ahead. I know it's a difficult time, guys, but hang in there. There's always a silver lining. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. So things will get better soon. And meanwhile, if you feel you're stuck anywhere, you have folks like us, and we have a whole team at LinkedIn which will be more than happy to help you. Also, if you did find this session useful, please, there is a post that your college had made. Please make comments on that so that it could help reach out to more and more people. And I could also reach out to more and more students like you and help them. This I do it pro bono. I do it just because I'm passionate about doing this. And yeah, if you found this useful, please spread the word, and I'd be happy to help more and more students at scale as much as I can. So thank you so much. Over to you, Aklank.
Thank you, sir, for such an informative session.
Yep.
The in-depth insights regarding the 4 pillars that define every individual as a professional brand, showcasing identity, building network, consuming and sharing knowledge, and having the right communication would help us in having a stronger LinkedIn profile and brand, which in turn would go a long way in developing and projecting ourselves as a significant brand in the competitive world. You've used an in-depth answer to the wide array of questions posed by the students has given us a lot of food for thought. It was a great opportunity to learn from your experience, and we are extremely grateful to you for sparing your invaluable time to interact with us. We look forward to similar engagements in future. We hope that this will be the start of a lasting relationship with you and your organization. And thank you once again for such a riveting session.
Pleasure. Pleasure's mine. All the best, guys. Thank you so much. Yep.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe. Stay home. Bye.